Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have another extremely exciting review for you guys, as this is the second of the newest releases from Vitae. This is the Jinyunpelta, and it is a species of dinosaur, obviously an ankylosaur, that I have never seen get a figure of before, and this is something that can be quite often said for Vitae, as they release a lot of Chinese dinosaurs, which is great for collectors as it's a lot of species that we normally don't see get figures. So I welcome this one, of course, with open arms into my collection, and not to mention just generally being a new Vitae figure. Again, as they make their comeback, I am certain I'm going to be blown away by this figure, just like I was with the last review. Just like with the last review, we have a fantastic box here that, of course, has the very cool window-like look to the front of it. I love these new boxes that Vitae has been providing with their figures because overall I love the kind of window look to the boxes. It's a really cool way to display your figures if you don't want to actually keep them out on the base and display them that way. You can display them within the packaging and have that really nice window look there to check out the figures. So the box is awesome and has quite a few uses. On top of protecting your figure on its way to you, you can of course display your figure in there as well. But as far as the box goes, really nice, really sturdy, beautiful window look like I had stated. But then when we actually flip the box over, look at the absolutely gorgeous artwork here on the back, just like on the last box that from the Tyrannosaurus that we had reviewed. This is gorgeous. Look at that beautiful artwork, not just the dinosaur itself. Like when you actually look at the landscape and the background and everything, this thing is just unbelievably beautiful. It's the type of stuff that you kind of also want to just kind of plaster all over your wall and have beautiful dinosaur artwork like this to just enjoy at any time throughout your collection. Again, absolutely awesome artwork here on the back of these Vitae boxes. So I am really psyched to take a look at this second Vitae release for the 2020 year. So let's go ahead, break this box open, and take a look at the beautiful figure within. So first of all, we have our base, and just like with the last review, the base is insanely beautiful. These new bases are one of my favorite things I think currently going on in the dinosaur collecting community. The fact that Vitae has re-released these figures with these gorgeous bases, now creating these unbelievable scenes that you can include with your figures, is just the most awesome thing. Again, the bases are unbelievably well done. Easily the best bases that I've seen in a long time as far as dinosaur figures go. These are just absolutely gorgeous. And then we have the Jinyunpelta itself, and this as well is magnificent. And this one I actually noticed doesn't have the kind of magnet here on the bottom, as again it's a quadrupedal animal, you don't need it. So this one you can kind of position anywhere you like on the base, and I like having it kind of in this position here, sort of making it look like it's about to come down and eat this vegetation right here. Absolutely awesome scene, and with the way the mouth is open, I kind of feel like that's the way it's meant to be displayed, where it's about to take a bite of the vegetation right there, which makes this way more appealing. Again, these new Vitae releases are definitely some of the best dinosaur figure releases that I have seen potentially ever. They're that good, and I am continuously just blown away by each and every one so far. So let's go ahead, get a closer look at the newest one right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Jinyunpelta, you can see straight away that the sculpt and detail here in the head sculpt of the figure is beautiful. So much fantastic texturing going on up here on the face, but on top of that great texturing, there is a lot of really nice paintwork up here. You can see just looking even here at the lower jaw, there's actually significant amounts of alternate paint variation included as far as like the different skin tone in the lower jaw. But then you come up here to the top of the head and it's painted with that beautiful brown and then dry brushed over with that nice dark brown, really highlighting every ounce of that detail, and it looks super nice, really nice and realistic. You can even see up here as we get to the top of the head, there's like that really nice dark wash that's included that creeps in between each and every one of the scales on the top of the head, but makes this look extremely realistic. And the paint application again on the top of the head is beyond beautiful. So much realism within the paint that I am just unbelievably psyched about these figures. You can also see a little bit of a yellowish coloration here on these spikes on the side of the head that helps to highlight that area and kind of make that area jump out at you and just look a little bit flashy, which I think works really well. Nicely painted, beak up here at the front of the mouth. Very realistic approach to painting the inside of the mouth, as you can see different tones of color in there as well. The tongue is really nicely painted. You can even see the teeth inside the mouth there, and everything has been given an extraordinarily nice gloss coat in there to make it shine and glisten very realistically, which I think you could see quite nicely as I turn the figure. Hopefully you'll have a pretty good idea of what that gloss coat looks like. But looking over here at the opposing side of the head, again, it looks insanely nice. Beautifully sculpted, beautifully detailed, and I love the eye. I love that they've kind of like lightened the color around the eye there, and then the eye itself is a beautiful blue with a black pupil, and that nice blue eye, I think, is a really nice touch on the part of this figure. Just with that darker brown and everything, that blue eye shines through so nicely, and you can see how gorgeous that looks on both sides. As we start to move back into the neck, you can see lots of really nice paint variation. Yet again, some beautiful scale detail here on the underside, and you can also generally pick up on the throat right there of the dinosaur, which I really quite like. You can see a little bit of the armored area kind of poking up here and there in the shoulder blade. Really nice leg sculpt with, again, some really nice color variation to that front leg. Some nice washes have been applied to make it look extremely realistic. You have that very nice foot sculpt down there. Beautifully painted nails. The nails also appear to have a really nice gloss coat on them to make them shine quite realistically. You can also see the structure of the leg generally right there. You can see the elbow as well, but you can also see some very nicely displayed musculature in that leg. So very nicely done as far as that goes. Coming back into the stomach region, look at all the paint variation on this figure. The paintwork on this figure is beautiful. You can see like light yellows, whites, and browns. So much paint variation included, and that's one thing that I feel like is very realistic when companies do that, because that's something that you would actually see on real living animals like this most likely. There's a little color variation included. Lighter and darker tones, just really realistic the way they've applied this paint, and I really want to commend Vitae on doing such an incredible job on these new figures. Lots of paint variation here on the underside as well, with nice mixtures of like yellows and whites. Very nice scale detail here on the underside of the dinosaur as well. He definitely is a very well-fed dinosaur. You can see quite a bit of beefiness there in the stomach region. Some nice skin folds and everything going on. You can see the skin really stretching off of the leg here as this leg is pulling it back. Skin kind of bunching up a little bit over here as this leg is pushing into the body. You can see that the spikes on the side are beautifully painted as well. Look at how nice that is. They've even applied that nice dark wash to the spikes here on the side, really making sure that you get every ounce of detail to shine through on the figure, and I think it really pays off in the long run. Beautiful detailing here in the thigh region back here. I love that these kind of brown washes and stuff show up here, but in the leg you can see how nice that scale detail now shines through thanks to that wash. It really highlights that area and shows off how beautiful it is. You can see the nice musculature of that leg as well, and coming down here you can see the nice thigh muscle sculpted out right there. Beautiful leg sculpt, really nice foot sculpt. Again, the nicely painted nails with the black, very nice gloss coat to them. And then coming back here into the tail, that skin texture continues to look absolutely phenomenal the entire way out that tail into the club tail, of course, that we would have out here. Again, some splotches of white here and there just for some alternate color variation, which look really cool. And you can see that the club tail here is painted with a nice light brown, but it's been given a very nice dark brown wash. So once again, we bring out all of that detail, and the same thing happens up here. It looks really good, especially up here on the top. I love the way it looks up here. Very realistic looking. And then once we lead up here into the back, you can see that nice brown coloration that's been dry brushed with that darker brown, and there's a nice wash as well included. And you can also see kind of like some white stripes as we lead throughout the body, but there's also like some darker brown stripes that you can see showing up in certain spots as well. So the actual paintwork is really realistic overall, and the spikes of the dinosaur, like all the armored area, it's all painted with like a yellowish, like a mixture of a yellow and kind of an off-white, like a yellowish brown actually, and like an off-white, and it's so nicely done. Every area of this figure as far as that armored area is so perfectly and carefully painted. There's no sloppiness that I can see as far as that paintwork goes in any area, and all of the kind of armored areas seem to be given a nice dark wash, so you can see how the detail jumps out at you so nicely. This is absolutely beautiful paintwork, and you can really see the nice scale detail. So many different varying sizes of scales here up on the back of this Jinyunpelta, and that dark wash really helps to bring the scale detail out, and it looks unbelievable. Really nice curve in the head as well, beautiful curve in the tail, and then coming over here to the opposing side, you can see some very nice detailing here in the neck region. Really nice scale detail up here on the top. Once again, brought out with that beautiful dark wash, but as it lightens, again, the transition between those colors is really nice, super smooth, but you can see the very nice detailing down here. Again, they've hit the front leg here with that nice dark wash of that dark brown, so there's just some really beautiful paint variation included. You can see the musculature quite nicely displayed in that front leg as well. Beautiful foot sculpt, yet again, with the really nicely painted nails. There's no sloppiness in that aspect either. Coming back here into the body, we see yet again the same thing we saw on the other side as far as really nice paint work here in the stomach region. Lots of varying colors in the stomach region, lighter and darker tones. You can actually see the seam right there where that leg is connected. I almost passed that up, but I don't think that's much of an issue at all. I still think it looks great. And you can again see the really beautiful scale detail here on the side of the stomach region. Nice skin folds and everything going on. You can see this leg is pushing into the stomach a little bit as it's taking a step forward, kind of bunching the skin up a little bit there, just pushing on the very large stomach of the dinosaur. You can see that quite nicely displayed there. Beautiful scale detail again in the thigh back here. Absolutely extraordinarily gorgeous sculpt and detail on these new Vitae figures. And you can see coming down here into the leg that scale detail does not cease. It continues to look incredible, and you have that beautiful foot sculpt yet again with the really nicely painted nails. And then coming back up here into the tail, you can see again that the leg is stretching off of that skin right there, and we lead out the length of the tail, and everything just continues to look unbelievably beautiful throughout this entire figure. The sculpt, the paint, everything on this is insanely well done. I love these white stripes that they're kind of like a white wash. This is the way they've applied them, so you can see them kind of like creeping through the scales as opposed to over top of them. That was a really cool choice as far as applying that white stripe. And again, those darker stripes are almost like really hard to pick up on, but you can see how nice it looks. It looks really natural, really nice, and beautifully applied when you can see it in the correct type of light, as well as a really nice touch to the figure. So this is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful figure. And then we have the base for the Jinyunpelta, and you can see this as well is beautifully done. Really nice rocky appearance, a little different than the previous base that we've seen for the Dinosaurs, and this one as well is beautifully painted and beautifully sculpted, but it just has a slightly different appearance, but at the same time a really nice earthy area that the dinosaur is walking along. Very nicely painted, lots of really beautiful tones of color, very nice earthy tones applied to it, nice lighter colorations, darker colorations, beautiful darker and lighter browns, really nice dry brushing all over the base as well to bring the detail out in extraordinarily nice fashion. And you also have the areas of vegetation similar to what we had seen on the previous base, and you can again have two areas actually of vegetation, and I love that they have that because again you can set your dinosaur down on the base to make it appear as though it's like heading for the vegetation to get a bite to eat. This base is just as beautiful as the last one, honestly. It is unbelievable, and these bases are probably some of, if not the best bases that I've ever seen as far as realism goes that are included with these new Vitae figures. They just generally look like real pieces of the earth that I just ripped up and brought inside and now set down for my dinosaur to stand on. Unbelievable work here, yet again, on the part of Vitae. And just like I had stated earlier with the dinosaur being a quadrupedal dinosaur, you can kind of position it wherever you want. I kind of like having it in a position like this, where it sort of looks like it's now about to take a bite, and with the positioning of the mouth, it has that perfect appearance as though it's reaching out for the bite to eat, and I'm pretty sure due to the positioning of the head and the mouth and the way it appears, that's probably what the idea was behind this and the way it's probably supposed to be positioned on the base. And honestly, it looks so beautiful in that position, picture perfect, and the positioning of that plant is actually also perfect for the position of the dinosaur and the way it's reaching down to take that bite. So everything about this is perfect. As far as a size goes for our Jinyunpelta, you are looking at from the length of the tail here now. Of course, the dinosaur, if it had its body straight and not curved, it would be a little longer. But with the curves in the body, you are looking at about 5 3/4 inches or about 14.5 centimeters. For a height, if it's on the base to the middle of the back, you're looking at about 2 3/4 inches. Or about a little under 7 centimeters, somewhere in that range. I almost lifted the base up by accident. And then for a length on the actual base itself, you are looking at roughly around the 8-inch range, more like 7 3/4 inches, or about 19.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, There is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our new Vitae Jinyunpelta. And you can see next to this figure roughly what the size is, I think, in comparison to these. It's not a very large figure, but honestly, I think it's a perfect size for it. I think it's a size that's not going to take up too much room in your collection. It's not going to be something that is overly large, but it also doesn't have an extremely small size to it. Overall, it is, honestly, it's about picture perfect, I would say, for this figure, for the overall appearance. Everything on this is beautiful. And for a second comparison, now without its base, because I don't have its base up here currently, here is the Dinosaurs next to the Jinyunpelta. And again, if you were wondering how these two figures sized up next to each other, hopefully this should give you a pretty good idea of that. So this brand new 2020 Vitae Jinyunpelta is beautiful. On top of being an extremely obscure species that I have never seen a figure of before, I do not have any of in my collection. So on top of being the initial figure of this species, just actually like the Jinyunpelta from the last Vitae review, that was as well a new species entering my collection, but that is awesome enough straight away that they made that species. What is even more awesome is how beautiful the figure is as a whole. This figure is gorgeous, and I must say now, after 2 reviews of these new Vitae figures, I will definitely say and commend Vitae that they are doing a much better job now than they were before, and they were incredible before, so that really shows you how unbelievably good they are currently. This figure is fantastic as far as the sculpt. So much very fine detailing included, beautiful scale detail, and it's all really nicely elaborated. Everything is beautifully sculpted. There's not like any type of an area that I would look at this figure and say, well, the detail's a little washed out. That is not the case on these figures at all. This one here has beautiful sculpt and detail that shines through in every area of the sculpt in picture perfect fashion. Very nice relaxing pose as well, similar to the Jinyunpelta where it was just kind of walking along. This one as well just appears to be walking along, and it's about to take a bite to eat, and the base of course is awesome enough to supply us with the vegetation that it's currently interested in, but the paintwork on the figure as well is incredibly well done, making sure that on top of the beautiful sculpt and detail that we have included, the paintwork really makes sure that you take note of that very nice sculpt and detail, and it really brings all the sculpt out beautifully in every area, honestly, because there's not a single area on this figure that they skimped out on in the paint department. You can see even in the areas of the spikes and armored areas on the back that they've given even those spots a nice dark wash to make sure that it looks, again, as realistic and as high quality as it possibly could. These figures are so unbelievably well done. I am continuously impressed by most companies, but it's not often that I get this impressed by new figures from a company, and this again is exactly how you make a comeback. Vitae really showing you how it's done right here with these new figures. The base as well is incredibly nicely done. Very high quality, nice and heavy base as well, and beautiful sculpt on the base, pretty much as beautiful as the dinosaur itself, which is a very, very impressive aspect. And once again, just like with the last review of the Vitae products, we have a really nice base with some vegetation added, and the vegetation looks nice and legit. It does not look fake in any way, if you ask me. I think it looks about as realistic as you're probably going to find when it comes to artificial vegetation on a base. Everything is just awesome on this figure and on this set. I honestly could not ask for more in a dinosaur diorama. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that. So make sure you check the description, go buy this fantastic 2020 Vitae Jinyunpelta, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.